Good morning and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. It's myself, JP, and joining me this morning is my good man, Mr. Barry McCandless. Well, Baz, it's been a wee while, mate. I think it was actually the Christmas special. It was the last time we had you and your presence, mate. So, aye, it's good to get you back on, mate. And how have you been? What have you been up to?
Good to see you, JP. Thanks for having us on. And yeah, it's been too long, mate. It was the Christmas special. It was the last time I was on. So that's just not good enough, is it? But good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time you're watching this at. It's great to be on. Looking forward to the chat. It's always good on the Unrestricted View. So let's get to it.
Yeah, and obviously we are on to have a wee chat about last night, and obviously what all that entailed and, you know, what happened. I do apologise, folks. I was meant to be on at 11:35. Because I'm not in my normal environment, I've had to kind of scupper to get things together in order to make sure my audio's working, make sure my camera's working, make sure da-da-da-da. So I do apologise, folks. So a very good morning to you all. Thanks for tuning in with us, as Barry says. It's been too long, mate. Definitely for the last time you were on. And as me and Ryan always say, mate, we just can't get the staff these days.
I know, that's it. Hold on, I'll do it for you. There you go. Unacceptable.
No, we do appreciate it, mate. We obviously appreciate any time you've got to come on and have a chat with us. So, guys, obviously, it's been a wee while. So, quickly, before we touch on last night, it's been a wee while since you were last on, mate. So, in terms of Celtic, where we're at, what's been happening, how have you seen it, and what's your thoughts on what you've saw going on? And obviously, there's been departures and arrivals, and so, hi, give us a wee insight as to how you feel.
Happy. The wheels keep turning. You know, Celtic keep winning, still top of the league, first trophy in the bag, qualified for the knockouts of the Champions League.
Yep.
Our superstar for Portugal has come home. Which is just dreamland. Honestly, I think still pinching myself that wonderful human being is back at a football club. Yeah. And I'm really excited to see him perform. And happy with the progression the club's making, you know, on and off the pitch.
Yeah.
Very difficult to be critical of Celtic in any way, shape or form. You know, we sold our best player in the summer, Matt Riley, and the team improved. So how many football clubs can say they lose their star player and actually they continue to grow? Yeah. That's what's happened. We've lost Kyogo in this window. I think everybody recognises, excuse me, it's great business for the club. But again, you know, we're losing our main goal scorer. But history shows me that Celtic will still go from strength to strength because we've been here before. We've walked this walk. And I think what pleases me most in summarising JP is that we've got a manager who understands that culture at Celtic. Now, he didn't understand it his first time round. He didn't. I think back in Brendan's first spell, ambition was at the forefront of everything he done. And he probably didn't really take in, you know, the landscape of where Celtic are in terms of how they can spend money and what players they can attract and how they can retain players. Yeah. It fills me with confidence that Brendan now understands that. So for him to lose Kyogo, I don't think he's going to sulk. He's not going to get the pep up out. He's not going to fall out with any board members or anything like that, because that's the benefit of experience. He's here now, he understands better. He's got that experience, and I would imagine they're probably part of him as well. That now kind of embraces that. I mean, I do as a fan, I now embrace that the nature of Celtic is that we recycle. So players come and go, and there's a shelf life for a lot of our players, JP. That's not great. Like, once upon a time, we all fought against that. We didn't want to sell our best players. No, we grieved when our best players left. But football's changed, our club's changed, I think the understanding's changed. And as I say, the most important person to understand this model is Brendan Rodgers. And I think he gets it.
Yeah. We've all seen a difference in Brendan this time. I would say he's a far better manager, probably than his first time around this time. All you've got to do is, look at certain games. There's his adaptability in those games, the way he can change things, the way, he noticed. I'll give you an example, the Club Brugge game. The first half gets away from us. We weren't great in terms of the shape that we had that night. However, Club Brugge were getting the best of the play, and Brendan recognised that, and he changed it in the second half, and then we were much more dominant in the second half, and we were able to overturn that. And that's just one example of that's fresh in my mind that, but there's probably millions, mate, if you actually look at it and go through it with a fine-tooth comb. There'll be more than what there is not. You look at the Dortmund game as well in this Champions League. That just wasn't good at all. We made all sorts of mistakes that night. Wasn't even anything down to game plans, nothing. The game plan was at the window in the first 5-10 minutes. And then you look at how the team have grown since then in terms of the levels that they've been able to sustain, and especially at the Champions League, mate, because as Casper says, even in the podcast he done with the Celtic official podcast, and he says people are just writing half saying, it's young boys, as if it's nothing, as if nobody. It's a level, mate, that's far higher to anything that you're tested domestically. Far higher. That's why you're coming up against these teams, mate. Some of them are all champions in their countries. So you're never just going to... These teams aren't going to learn like you tickle their belly. You're going to need to work. You need to do the right things. You need to... So to watch Celtic this season for me, Barry, I think it's been tremendous, mate, in terms of the progress we've made, along with watching certain individuals form a level of maturity. Well,
if you talk nicely enough to me, I might roll over and let you tickle my belly. So there you go. Lay your cards right.
You're the right show for that, mate. Ryan does a half-10 show. He's good at doing stuff like
that. I think, like, if you look at Celtic season so far, I really don't know how many games we've played in total, competitive games, but it's a lot. And I only really could say 2 performances stroke result that were pretty abysmal. And that was Dortmund, away from home, and Rangers at Ibrox. Those were the 2 games that really stick out in my mind. We were poor in the games. We didn't show our quality in those games.
Yeah.
And the result as well, obviously, was really dire. But other than that, we've showed a remarkable consistency. Now, that's in referring to this season, but you look at the last calendar year, I know it's been spoke about in all the podcasts, right? Celtic lost 2 games in 2024. So you talk about consistency, that is remarkable. To be playing the amount of games that we play and to be throwing out those numbers. So I think that I've always thought this for a long time, I think our success gets undermined. I think it gets downplayed. Sadly, a lot of the times it's from our own fans that, we're so focused on the next thing, and I get that, I'm the same. But you have to pause a moment and take in what your club's achieving. We're achieving incredible things. There's been some criticism labelled at the club for some of their performances in the Champions League. We were expected to beat young boys. We beat them, but the manner that we beat them, afterwards there was some disgruntled fans that,
You got to look at the first half of that and all, boys. I mean, the first half, Kyogo scores a hat-trick himself. Engels misses a penalty.
Yeah. So, for me, I think as a Celtic fan, I've matured over the years, JP, right? Enough. Listen, I'm not saying I'm mature, right? Don't be putting those things on me, but
You're like a fine cheddar, mate. You're like a fine cheddar.
I wish. But I am mature enough as a Celtic fan to recognise what we've achieved in getting to the knockout stages of the Champions League this year is sensational, right? Again, it's probably going to be downplayed because you've just said it. You know, teams like Young Boys and then some of the other teams we come up against in this format and with the format, people will look at that and say, well, it's because you get a good draw. Well, it's because you get this. It's because you get that. But how many times have we come into these games, JP, where we've had centre mids playing centre back, or we've went into games without a striker? Now, nobody used that as an excuse for us not to qualify. You know, we never had that.
By the way, we made the Champions League group phase under Brendan the last time with Beaton at centre back.
Yeah. So I don't think looking at this, that, and the other should be a factor. I think you just look at this in isolation and say Celtic have just qualified for the knockouts of the Champions League, and that's absolutely outstanding for the club, considering our recent history in Champions League being pretty dire. Plus, you're sitting at the top of the Scottish Premier League. You've already won a trophy. So I've done this with a few Celtic fans, family and friends. I've actually pleaded with them and said, listen, don't forget to enjoy the journey. You're too busy focusing on this, that and the other. You need to take a breath, soak it in, what the club's achieving and has been achieving for a number of years now, and enjoy the ride. You know, it's never going to be perfect. That's for sure. But I'll tell you what, you know, domestically we've not been far off perfect. And in Europe, we're making progress. So I'm just delighted to be a Celtic fan at this time and enjoying every moment of it, mate.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I'm exact same, mate. I'm loving, obviously, this moment of being a Celtic supporter just now, because I think I've heard a couple of people say it now, and I've also said it on the podcast. Winning isn't easy, mate. It's the hardest thing in football to do, is win. But not just to win, to do it in a way that our fans put the demand at the club. So winning games, you know, isn't enough. You need to be winning these trophies and doing this and doing that. But like you says, it's then always the next. It's always the next thing. Yeah. A wee message here for Ryan. He's on the YouTube. Morning, Ryan. Hope you're well, pal. No matter who you get in the draw, you still need to beat teams and perform. Yes, we still made mistakes on some goals, but over the piece, we've progressed, and the aim was to qualify, which we have done. So, yeah, I mean, that alone is the objective. At the beginning of this group, when it started, the 8 games, I mean, mate, I don't know if it's just me, right? But we only lost 2 games out of 8 in the Champions League.
Yeah.
We've only lost 2 matches. And we were up against 2 good sides as well when we lost those 2 matches. But we've also had results against teams like Atalanta and Bergamo, Leipzig at Celtic Park. Now, people are going to say, JP, Leipzig weren't great. But we were outstanding. I don't care about Leipzig. We were outstanding. We had to do our job. And this is the thing, Barry. Celtic have still got to go and win. You know, as P. McLaughlin's just put in the comments here, we've also got 3 clean sheets from those 8 games as well. And amongst, you know, that says, mate, the hardest thing to do in football is win. But to win and continue to do it over time, Celtic have made it look so simple.
Well, you know I love you, Ryan. Thanks for the comment, but you know, the fact that we've conceded goals we shouldn't have, or you know, underperformed at times, or I'm not sure it matters personally. I mean, I can only come on the pod and give my perception. I can't speak for anybody else, but my perception is you get into the Champions League at the start of the season, and the objective is to qualify. We qualified with a game to spare. if somebody would have offered you that at the start of the season, never mind all the permutations, never mind all the things that happened throughout those games, if somebody put on the table and said they're going to qualify for Champions League with a game to spare, you would have been jumping around your living room or wherever you are, and you would be ecstatic. And that's what we've achieved. An incredible thing. And I listened to Brendan's presser after the game last night, and he always picks up on these things. Aston Villa hadn't conceded a goal in the Champions League at home. They'd played 3 home matches and never conceded a goal. Celtic scored 2 last night against them. Yeah. So, listen, I think there's always pros and cons. There's always both you can look at when you're explaining Celtic's form or the performances, results. To me, I always look at things from what was the target? What was your target here? So it was like going back to last season. So, last season Celtic went on and done a double. I know there was a lot of messy moments during the season. I know there was some difficult spells. I know there was a lot of periods where a lot of Celtic fans were really intense emotionally, full of fear that Celtic weren't going to win that league, right? I get it, we went through the motions, but the end result was the same. We won a double last year. The end result of this Champions League campaign is we're through. So I think that's just a way of looking at things that I probably wish a lot more of the Celtic fan base would do. And that includes individual games where you maybe play at your best, you don't put teams away, you don't score 5 goals, you still win the game, and I just think that I think if we want to grow as a football club, I think our understanding as fans needs to grow along with it. You beat Villa 1-0 at home, there you go. Bayern.
They beat Bayern as well, aye.
Yeah, I actually watched that game. So, for me, we have an incredible structure at the football club and how it's run as a business. We have an elite football manager at our club. We've got some real star players there as well. I think in Nicholas Kuhn, we've got a real player there. Jota's coming back.
Yeah.
I thought Rio Hatate had a good game last night. I think Army Engels has got a really high ceiling. I think AJ at right back could be a future captain of Celtic. You've got a more than competent goalkeeper. I could go on, but look, we are working within our means at Celtic as well. So I heard a comment yesterday night, this person was really having a go at Celtic for the performance against Villa, right? They were really having a go and they were not happy about that result. And I'm thinking, is there no comprehension there of the gulf and quality? Now, I love my team and I love Celtic, but I'm not stupid. I recognise that Ollie Watkins is a first-class striker. The boy Rodgers is one of the most talented players in that Premier League.
Yeah.
And, Tielemans in central midfielder is a first-choice pick for Belgium. You've got, I could keep going here, but there's no point in me sitting on this podcast and having the blinkers on, JP, and saying, well, I think Celtic are better than Villa. I don't. I think Villa are better. But we went there and we played our football. We played with courage. We had adversity within 4 minutes. 2-0 down, that could have got messy. We showed that we had learned for that Dortmund performance. And where we lack in certain areas, we're trying to make up in others. So, anybody who criticised that performance last night and or result, I think you really need to look harder at the difference between the two clubs. And Aston Villa finished in the top 8. They finished in the top 8 of that competition.
Yeah.
I think they're sitting 5th or 6th in the English Premier League just now. You've got to take all these things.
I think they're actually 8th in that as well, Buzz. I think they are. I checked this morning again. I think they're sitting 8th now, but I think they've got a game in Holland to jump. I think it's Newcastle.
Yeah. Well, they're a top 4. Also, big man, they're led by an elite manager. He's been to 8 European finals with different clubs. So this is the kind of the standards that we're facing when we come into the Champions League. So I'll echo what Brendan said. I was proud of the team last night. I was a proud Celtic fan last night, despite the fact you're never happy when you lose a football match.
Yeah, I was the same. Obviously, we're obviously going to touch on the game, mate. Obviously, the game starts a couple of minutes into the game. You're right on the back foot straight away. You get caught in between the man and the ball, and then the ball gets cycled quickly. They've got good players, like you've said, Boy Rodgers, good movement, good quality, boom, goal. And then the second goal comes off, I think it's a cross into the box, comes out, drops to Rodgers, and Rodgers just tries to first time, but you could argue all you want about Liam Scales in terms of he's got to put he's positioning, he sticks his leg out the ball, then goes over Casper. Before you know it's 2-0. And for me at that point, Baz, when you were texting me last night, this is where we need to show character here.
Yeah.
And I thought we really did, mate. I thought you seen Callum McGregor, and I thought this was, again, top leadership again for the captain. He pulls in about 2 or 3 of them in a kind of mini huddle just as the second goal goes in, and he's talking to them and he's saying, right, we need to do this, we need to, and he's pointing to like Hatate and he's saying to Idah about moving here and doing that, and you just see his arms going all over the camp. And then all of a sudden Celtic start getting on the ball and we start to, grow a wee bit of belief in the, inflict our personality to the game as well, and starting to show that, okay, we're 2-0 down, but we're also here to play as well, and you're going to have to do a wee bit more than that. There's a moment, Baz, for me in the game that Ollie Watkins goes through and he dinks it past Casper. I think it's Alistair Johnson that clears it off the line. And then Celtic really, really came right back into the game after that, mate. And then, obviously, as we all saw, that, they showed incredible character to be 2-0 down, mate, at Villa Park and bring the scoreline back to 2 each.
Yeah, no, I thought the first minute or two in the game we started really well. We had the ball, we were moving it about and looked confident. And that's the kind of start you want. You want to get on the ball, make some passes, kind of settle yourself into the game. It's just that we couldn't keep it going past 2 minutes. And honestly, when the first goal went in, at that point, I'm thinking to myself, like, even as early as this in the game, Celtic really need to be compact here and give them nothing. And then I think there's an element of luck with our second goal, let's be honest. It's a shot outside the box, it does deflect, but you've got to react. And the encouraging thing for me, and probably for most Celtic fans, is that we stopped the bleeding. There wasn't a whole raft of chances getting in, I felt, after that. Yeah, I think that's partly because Villa slowed the game right down. I think Emery likes that. He likes his team to, just go at an easy pace. So that helped a wee bit. That did help us. But full credit to us, and as you say, what a captain, what a leader. And again, these are the things that you only get through experience. I remember Big Ange when he was at Celtic, and they were asking him about Champions League, and he said the priority for Celtic is to be in the Champions League every year. And it always stuck out in my mind because he didn't go off talking about different things or how he's going to conquer Champions League with Celtic. Or he just sort of kept it simple. He said, for this club to grow, the key thing is to be in the Champions League every year. And I understand what he's saying because it's the experience. That was showed last night in 2 fronts. Callum McGregor rallying round, recognising this is a big moment here. This is important that I get in their heads here. It's important that I get in their heads and make sure that something doesn't happen that's happened to us in the past. And then the team reacted to it. The combined experience, the team reacted to it, not losing their heads, not making daft challenges, not losing their shape. You only get that through experience. And that's where, I think having the nucleus of the team together over a period of time is so important as well. But I think we responded really well. We built our way back into the game. We played some good football. I mean, you recognised Celtic in that game last night. It's not like we got a couple of lucky goals, or we get a break in the ball, or we got a penalty, or it wasn't like that. We played our football, and we got the goals through playing our football. So our football worked at that level, which is great to see. And obviously, I'm sure we'll come on to the man that got the 2 goals. But what I will say is, I thought that players running about, Idah helped them as well. I thought they showed great character. In particular, I think Engels and Hatate. And then again, I know they weren't perfect in the game, but I saw plenty of character, plenty of work rate, plenty of endeavour, and courage. Courage to get on the ball and courage to make things happen. So they're all positives.
Yeah, well, you're touching on Real Hatate, mate. I thought his ball retention last night was absolutely top class. I really did. I thought he was a gift to us last night in a way, in the way that we cycled the ball, but he also controlled some of the speed that moved through as well in midfield. He knew when to speed it up, he knew when to kind of take a touch, and because we spoke on the podcast with William the other day, William Glavin, as William does all the analysis and stuff, and that's what he was saying. Their kind of mid-3 really, really flood the game. So they really, really hassle you and they get in and around you. I thought that kind of slowed off once the injury happened to Matty Cash, because they kind of looked a wee bit panicky after that, Aston Villa, in my opinion. And I found that McGregor and Hatate were able to then pick up good areas with the ball, and when John McGinn came on, it took him a wee bit of time to get up to the the goings of the game, because it's so difficult it must be, mate, coming on to a game of that magnitude and really having to get going and and put your own tempo to it and bring. Obviously, he's Aston Villa captain, but he's been out a wee while as well. So obviously that's he's not played a lot of football. So that was only expected with John McGinn. But for me, Rio Hatate was different class last night. I thought he was probably Celtic's best player, out with obviously the man that scores the 2 goals. And you look at Engels, that back heel was just absolutely unbelievable to set that play up, and to not just to have the right doing that in your head, and it works out differently for everybody in your head, but to then go and execute it, do it physically on the pitch, that's a different thing entirely, mate. And it takes big balls to try something like that, mate. To when you're down, when the score's at 2-0, and when you're trying to get back into the game and you're doing moves like that, because if that goes the other way and they intercept the ball and break and maybe even get a chance for that, he's getting slaughtered by half the Celtic fans for that. So you've also then got to recognise when it comes off, and when it works, and you've got to say wow. But talk about Adam, mate. For me, I thought he was tremendous last night, and it just shows that he's he does have that level within him to really be the main man, and that's the way. To me, that was his attitude last night. It was like, okay, fine. I might not have been in the team every week prior, but I'm well up for this challenge. The only thing I was disappointed with was I hope he's not injured, because I saw him clutching his calf after he races away for Kamara in the second half, and Martinez puts it out for a corner. But no, I thought he's running, he's pressing. You look at his physicality. They two couldn't deal with him. Conser or Kamara, thought they struggled all night with him. And even look at Idah, when he moved in and tried to go on him as well, it was as if they were looking at one another, as if to say, I don't really want to do this. Do you want to do it? No, you take him. No, you take him. So he really worried them. And then obviously his 2 goals. His 2 goals were his first goal. I don't know if he'd been watching the DVD, travelling or whatever, he entered a dragon, but what a kick that is, man, to get his leg away up there. Bruce Lee, man, honest to God. And then his second goal was superb, but I was really chuffed for him as well, Baz, I really was, because I think I put a post on last night and I says, let's make the applause as loud as what the disrespect's been, because I really think a lot of things that have been said about Adam Idah, for me, it's been uncalled for. I get folks, folks aren't happy. He's not scored in a lot of games and blah blah blah. But to go and do it in a game of that magnitude, mate, shows you that he's more than capable and he's comfortable with it.
Yeah, I thought he was magnificent. Absolutely first class. Have you tried replicating his first goal?
I done it. I think I done it. I done it with you, remember, down the pitch. I think I was about 11-year-old or something the last time I done it. And at that point, mate, I ripped my shorts as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think between the two we would be able to do that anymore. No chance.
I'd need to do Pilates for about 10 years to get anywhere near it, man.
Aye, I think I'd need to go to boot camp.
Aye, after
it. No, listen, he has had criticism. And I would say some of that criticism may be fair. I don't think he's been at the level he was last year. But with Celtic, it's always about context. And I've been a huge advocate for Idah, and I've defended him because when Kyogo left, to me, I had no concerns about Adam Idah stepping in to be the first choice striker. No concerns whatsoever. I felt comfortable, and even as much as I love Kyogo, and I've loved Kyogo for day one, and I'm not undermining Kyogo in any way, but I actually just felt the timing was right anyway. I felt the timing was right for Idah to be Celtic's first choice striker, and that's what I would explain for maybe some areas his performance dipping this season. It's the fact that he's just not had a string of games in the team. Brendan said it last night, about his fitness. And you've heard this yourself for umpteen footballers. They always speak about a good pre-season and they always speak about match sharpness. Even Jota in his presser spoke about that. As much as he's training and he's fit and that stuff, but he's not match sharp. And Adam Idah, I don't believe, through this entire season, has been in a position where you would say he's fully match sharp, all his tools are ready, and this is the best Adam Idah. I just don't think he's been there. And that's not his fault. That's not down to anything he's done. So I don't know how anybody could have doubted his quality, JP, right? Because last season, what Adam Idah done was scored big goals in big games. He showed for day one that he's a big game player. Now, he's then went and proved that again last night. In the big games, Adam Idah performs. So, I can understand question marks about his form, but, I don't like when people are questioning his ability to be the number one striker for Celtic, because I think he's already proven he can do that. And again, he enforced that last night. So, hopefully, there's no more doubts around Adam Idah and everybody can just get behind the boy. And we all know that, we do need to replace Kyogo, we do need another striker, and that's fine. But it's a separate conversation from Adam Idah being fit and able to be Celtic's number one striker, because that's yes, he is able to do that. Is he going to score the same amount of goals that Kyogo scores? Probably not. But he's a different type of striker. You spoke about it, JP. It's his power. It's his ability to hold off defenders. When Adam Idah's in the team, if you're struggling to break a team down, you can put a cross into the box.
Yeah.
Because he's got the capacity to go and win a header. Kyogo could very rarely do that. So it just gives you a different dynamic. You're not looking to directly replace the qualities that Kyogo brought as a striker. You're just going to do it in a different way. But on his performance last night, just on that alone, his 2 goals were took really well. But I just thought his overall play was really high level. Really high level. You're talking about playing a Premier League team here at their own pitch. And Adam Idah gave them an absolute torrid time there. Yeah,
he did, mate. As I said, the 2 defenders looked really worried. The 2 lads were kind of passing them on constantly. I seen Conser. He rolled Conser one of the times in the first half. That was just after his second goal. And I think it was the way he did it. And he done it with a physical nudge as well. And Conser was like that, as if, I didn't like that there. You could see He was coming down the side. It was one he played. I think he played Hatati in off the. It was like a flick pass or a bounce pass, should I say? And Conser was kind of as if, oh, I didn't like that there. And then when it came the second time over, he was like to Kamara as if you come over here and you take him. So when defenders are doing that, mate, you know you're doing something right. You know you've got them here in a shoestring. You look at another one that strikes me as well. The lad Arnie Engels. I just think his running power's unbelievable. The way he can get up and down the pitch, his ball carrying. Over time, I think this will develop, but I think now he's getting better at learning how to control the game in terms of.
Yeah, I agree.
He knows when to drop in short. He knows when to, and I just think watching the three of them, I'd like to see more of that because I think the three of them complement each other in so many different ways. You know, Engels is McGregor's shield, and I saw it last night. You look at the lad Rodgers and how physical they were. You know, Engels was, Engels was. He was in and about that big lad Rodgers as much as it's a very hard thing to do because the lad Rodgers was really physical, really. But he's not a shrinking violet, mate. He's not a small guy. He's no someone you're just going to easily push away. And, people are saying, I know, that the one that leads to the third goal, Engels should have fouled McGinn. And, you've got to look at it the other way as well. His energy just to get him into that position. He's had to run for his 18-yard box in order to make up that ground, where he realises, oh man, we're in trouble. But again, that's the moments of, now you know how other teams feel in our league. That's the moments of quality. People tell me that the difference in the English Premier League is far superior. There's a level of physicality, running power. I'll tell you what, I seen that last night. You talk about levels. What about Nicholas Kuhn with Lucas Digne? Ask Lucas Digne now how he feels about Nicholas Kuhn. Because he absolutely destroyed him down that right-hand side. And you talk about afterburners. By the way, Lucas Digne is very quick.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But he's no of the running power that Nicholas Kuhn can give you. In the way that he, And then, obviously, the changes that come in. And, again, Baz, I thought maybe, Luke McCown, again, looks very good on the ball. I like the way he's so tidy. Bernardo, he's another one. But for me, Bernardo's a confidence type player. I think he needs other games. So, overall, mate, I'm just really, really proud of the way we've went about this season in the Champions League. Like I says, 2-0 down, first 5 minutes, 6 minutes, you could very easily crumble in that moment. Celtic didn't do that. If you're asking about, development and everything else, you've got to use that as a contrast to the Dortmund game and see how we crumbled that night.
Yeah.
And everything just get away from us. The game gets away from you awful fast. That didn't happen last night, mate. No,
I agree with you. I think that is the comparison. To look at what happened in Dortmund and compare that to what happened at Villa. Bear in mind, Villa and Emery, the players, and that whole stadium rolled up to that game really, really looking to finish 8th in the Champions League to avoid that playoff game. They were massively motivated, that stadium and that group of players. So it's not as if they would have took their foot off the gas. It's not as if they would have just enjoyed the last game and, it's a free hit. No. They were determined to win that match. So that speaks volumes for Celtic that it didn't get away from us, when those early goals went in. But, me, JP, and anybody who talks Celtic with me will know that I'm generally a glass half full football fan. I generally look at the positives and I generally look at what's going well and what's going right. It's not that often you'll hear me being critical of Celtic. But I'm going to be slightly critical just to prove that I can do it, I'm going to be critical. I thought Yang was really poor. I thought he struggled the whole game. I don't think he's Celtic quality at all. And I don't think he's ever going to reach Celtic quality. So that brings me to my real criticism, because I'm disappointed that Brendan kept him on the pitch as long as he did. And I can understand he wanted to keep a natural wide player, right? He doesn't want to mess about with his system and the collective habits of the team and their attacking styles and, all that. I get that. If you take a wide player out of the team, and you put somebody out of position, then that obviously comes with complications as well. But I just don't feel Yang deserved to play that match. This is a Champions League match. It's a huge football match for our club. And there was players in that squad that I felt well deserved a place in the team ahead of Yang, despite they would have had to have played out of position. Look, McCown, for example. Pound for pound, Yang or McCown should have started that game, even though he would have had to have done a job out in the left wing. By the way, I'm pretty certain he would have still done a better job than what Yang done. I don't think Yang contributed a single thing last night in terms of offensively or defensively. He just didn't help the team at all. Now, I would even have played Rio out in the kind of left wing position and put Bernardo into centre midfield. Again, I know you would be asking Rio to do different things. I know it's not his natural position, but he drifts out to the left-hand side anyway, Hatate. He's comfortable in that area of the pitch. So that is a criticism that I'm going to put at Brendan. I feel that I think Yang shouldn't have started that game. He most definitely should have been subbed long before he was. Yeah. I think Brendan should have just made those tactical adjustments, personnel-wise. Keep the shape the same. Everything remains the same, but you're asking somebody to do a job, put in that position. Let's be candid, JP, right? And I'd put this to the people watching. Does any of us think that Luke McCown would have done a better job than Yang, albeit he would have been playing out of position? I certainly do.
Yeah, I suppose it's certainly a way to look at it, the way you've put that there. What I go back to is the build-up for that game. So you've got to understand, Brendan's obviously got a process there. He certainly must have worked on this with Yang. So the mere fact that he's at the point where he's using Yang as an instrument in that tells me that Brendan obviously doesn't think other players would have been suited to do that, because maybe, I don't know, Luke McCown in terms of his direct pace.
But what is your response though? Do you think Luke McCown, never mind Brendan and what his thought process were, right?
Yeah.
A direct question, do you believe Luke McCown would have offered more last night playing out in left wing, out of position, than what Yang did?
Yes.
100%.
Not only would he have offered more, he would have offered more in terms of creativity as well, which would have been vital for us. In terms of pace and standing people up, we all know Brendan likes to play with wingers, Buzz. And we all know he likes guys that are fast and can really be dynamic and move the ball. McCown's dynamic enough. In terms of his overall speed, he probably lacks in that department. But in terms of his reading of the game, his IQ, his footballing ability, there is no doubt, mate, that...
And he's hard in JP. The boy's a grafter.
Yeah. He's up and down the pitch, mate.
Aye.
Because last night he chased the boy Ramsey. And won the ball. He won his a throw in down the far side at left back. But I was a bit. I found the whole thing bizarre, and I know I had a laugh about it. And I've tried to be patient, but you know more than anybody, mate. I've tried to be patient with the lad Yang, and I've tried to see some sort of goodness in him, and think to myself, he's going to have a moment here where and that moment nearly came last season. Arguably, he was in a good vein of form. He played well a couple of games, and then he gets sent off at Tynecastle, and after that, he falls right out of the team. And it looks now that he's fell off a cliff because he's no came back as a, what I will say about Yang is he's a hard worker and he runs his heart out. Just his overall ability and his injection to the team and everything, his input to the team, unfortunately, boys, is not good enough.
No.
Not good enough. And I hate sitting here saying things like that about Celtic players. Put it this way, he's a hell of a lot better than me because I'm sitting here talking about him and he's out there earning a fortune playing in Champions League. So I'm just giving my opinion. To play for Celtic, we are about to find out how easy it is to show levels here, right? And I'll give you an example of this. In a couple of weeks' time, when things are going well and blah, 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 you will see the difference between having Yang and having somebody like Jota.
Yeah.
If anybody wants a comparison to see the difference, in a couple of weeks' time, when he's up to speed, when he's off the bench a couple of times, when his endurance and that's built back up again, when he looks as if he's had a good feed, because he's desperately looking at that, and now he looks all drawn in the face. And I was actually thinking about going down to Celtic Park the other day with a wee tray of sandwiches and that from man and welcome him back. But saying to him in the meantime, you better get wired in me, man, because you need a good feed here. That's what I was going to say. Take him down to Valdora's Chippy to Glasgow Cross and a deep fried Mars bar. And follow it up with a can of Diet Iron Brew. But a pickle. But the
again, what are you doing after the podcast?
I'm going for my lunch down to Valdora's.
Yep.
No, I know it's shut down, and Jem's just reminding me there that Valdora's is shut down. Yeah. I know it's shut down. Apparently all our deep fried Mars bars all get caught in a fryer. But so as I say, the overall with Yang, I do feel. I mean, I've seen loads of comments like P. McLaughlin's there, a Korean Mikey Johnston, and he's probably right in a way in terms of that's probably fair in terms of he just never get going. He's just never really got going at Celtic, and probably never will. I don't think now I think he's had enough time now, Barry, that he's came into the team, but you notice it with the players, mate. They're worried to give him the ball because they know they're going to either get the ball bounced right back to them, or he's got to lose it. You look at the one with John McGinn last night, and I think this is a really important part of the game because I'll give you an example. If this is my Idah, or it's Jota, or it's Kuhn, or it's somebody else that's in that position, a foot race with John McGinn, it gets to just inside Aston Villa's half. John McGinn puts his big arse in the way of Yang to win the ball, but Yang beats him in the foot race if you look at it back, right?
He did.
If that's my Idah, and it's Kyogo, and it's Jota, or it's Kuhn, it's bye-bye, John. See you later, John. John falls on his arse, and we run on and probably create a chance to score. Yeah. So that's the difference. My Idah wasn't there last night. We didn't have that out ball. And as it stands now, mate, he's going to miss the first leg of this knockout stage now as well. So he's got a 2-game ban. Last night was his first.
Do you know something? For something so innocuous, so needless, him and us are paying a heavy, heavy price. Yeah. I wasn't too fussed that he was going to miss the Villa game, right? Because ultimately, there wasn't anything at the end there. But for God's sake, he is a humongous loss to us in the first game. Really, really, of a handful of players we could lose, he's one of the big ones, and we're not going to have him. And he himself needs to really look at that, and look at the consequences of just a moment that was just so needless. But back to that, you know, when you were describing Yang against McGinn, because I agree with you, Yang got to the ball first. What he didn't do was he didn't run across McGinn. He should have run across him, and that way McGinn either had to foul him or would have had to have let him go.
If he fouls him, it's he's sent off and all, by the way, because he's through right and go after that.
And that's where Yang might never develop as a footballer. I just don't think he's got the IQ. He just doesn't have that football IQ. So, and you're right, by the way, he's had plenty of opportunity. He can't leave Celtic and say, I never got more opportunity. He's had, Brendan's put him in big games. He's played him in huge football matches for Celtic, and I don't recall him, maybe once or twice he's performed, but overall, yeah. And like, you know, you're right, you've got a direct comparison there. Wait till you see Jota in the team and see what he provides, you know. So, it is an area I would be critical of Brendan. I think that sometimes football managers, you know, the greatest at this moment, Pep, you look at how Pep deals with having players out, and I know they're going through a bad spell now, by the way, but Pep, he's very creative. You look at the false number 9, that Pep created that, you know, he invented a position for Lionel Messi. And then you see a lot of teams doing it now, playing with the false 9. What they've done with the inverted fullbacks, and so I know Brendan isn't at the same level as Pep Guardiola, but just I think at times, well, last night being the prime example, I would have liked to have seen Brendan take a wee risk, do something a wee bit different, not too outrageous, you know, to change the entire system or anything to accommodate for having one player out, but I think, again, I mean, no want to go on too long about this, but for me, Luke McCowan in left wing last night, even though they've been playing in a position that isn't his natural position, I still think he'd have got more out of him than we got for Yang. But listen, Brendan doesn't make many mistakes, so I'll let him off with it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And if he does, he quickly learns from them as he goes. I've seen a couple of people commenting in today. I've also seen comments on social media mentioning that, you know, after last night's display, etc., we might need a new defence or a new midfield. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, we're all hoping Kieran Tierney comes back in this window. So it's, again, amazing that, you know, I think credit goes to the club for being able to bring somebody like Kieran Tierney back. First and foremost, I know the Celtic connections, right? I get it, but he's still only 27. He's going to have suitors down south. He's going to have suitors in Europe. So for the club to be able to convince Kieran Tierney to come back, listen, I'm sure he never needed much convincing, right? But still, it's a great coup for the club. Same goes for Jota. For the club to be able to attract somebody of his quality back, again, I know he's got the Celtic connections, but it's still a fantastic coup to get players of that quality coming to the club. So, I think Nick, JP, were in good condition there. I mean, in terms of the defence, you know, it's a difficult one because if CCV's in the team last night, we're obviously much stronger as a backline. If Kieran Tierney in that defence last night, we're much stronger as a backline. And they too are to come in. So if you're looking at a fully strength Celtic back 4, back 5 with a goalkeeper, if you're putting a team of Schmeichel, AJ, CCV, Trusty and Tierney, I mean, that's a level that you'd be hard-pressed to go much higher than that, JP.
No, 100%.
You need to be spending monumental money to get better than those boys. So, I don't think there's major...
Even that's a gamble, because, again, we paid £6 million for Cameron Carter-Vickers. Look what he's done for us. Going and spending 10 million on a guy doesn't guarantee you.
No, it doesn't.
In my opinion, that level.
No, and this is the thing. If spending those types of budgets, those types of fees, did guarantee you higher level, I think the club would spend it. I don't think the club would hesitate spending it if there was a guarantee. But there never is. Midfield, I'm going to echo what you said about Arne Engels, JP. I know he's also had a bit of criticism, you know, with his form dip and stuff. I think Arne Engels, to me, has got incredible ability and potential. It's his running power for me, as you said. It's his strength. And I think probably as fans, as time goes on, we'll see more and more what type of player he is. And also, he's bringing his game to Celtic and trying to add the stuff that Brendan's asking of him. So it is going to take a wee bit of time, but I love his work ethic. I love his commitment. I love his desire. Again, his running power, he's definitely an upgrade in our midfield over the past few seasons in terms of that physicality and running power. So I think we're in good nick in those areas of the pitch as well. But it always comes back to it, doesn't it? And it was Brendan's mantra last year: quality. So if there's quality there, if there's better quality available to you, of course we can improve in those areas. Of course we can improve on centre mid. I mean, there's been an ongoing theme amongst us Celtic fans that we've felt for a while that we need more of a physicality in our midfield. Somebody that's an out-and-out defensive midfielder, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
Callum McGregor's a cultured player. He's the kind of quarterback holding midfielder, and he's a Rolls Royce. Callum McGregor. He's
100%.
The guy, because he's so good, sometimes we overlook just how good. Again, I thought he was absolutely brilliant last night. So there's obviously areas that we can improve, but I think going by the summer there and this window, and the way Brendan's organised this squad, I don't think we'll get much to worry about, JP. I think what needs to be done will get done.
Yeah.
And I'll wrap up on that. I think we'll get that boy for Brøndby. I think he's the striker. They're saying 10 million quid again. Celtic have just spent 8 or 9, whatever it was, in Jota, spent big in the summer. If they're able to get this boy in for that kind of transfer fee, it's great signs for us as fans because we're seeing the money being reinvested.
Yeah, 100%. There's comments coming in talking about the third goal Aston Villa scored last night, about Scales being high up the pitch, Trusty being high up the pitch. What I'll say to that is that's the way Celtic play. So the reason why our centre-backs were high up the pitch is because Celtic were pressing on the game. But unfortunately, not every press in football is going to come off the way you want it. And when you're counter-pressing like that, and you do it as a unit, when you do it in 2s and 3s, if one of your players don't nick it on, you're playing against a team like Aston Villa and the quality they have, around the corner pass takes 4 of you out of the game. So the pitch then becomes wide open. And that's what happened last night. We go back and look at the third goal. We're unlucky. Hatate nearly nips the ball. He stretches, he's on the stretch. McGregor then has to shuffle across. The ball's then cycled and we're up the pitch because that's what's called transition football. That's how, if anybody had watched the previous episode with William Glavin, William says Unai Emery's probably one of the best counter-attack managers there is in football.
He is. Yes.
And that's no well, we get caught up the field. That can happen. Celtic play football at the halfway line. Our counter-press allows us to go into the opponent's half. That's where we play the majority of our football. And sometimes it'll work for you. Quite a lot of the time, fortunately for us, it works. But you're playing against teams of quality. You've got to recognise, but sometimes it's not going to come off, and it's a learning curve for us as well because when that happens, you then go away and you analyse that and you say to yourself, well, right, so we press like that this time, so we allow ourselves not to press the next time with so many numbers in a certain area. You can then work on that to position themselves differently on the field, and for me, that's how learning's done, boys.
Well, bravo. That was outstanding analysis. I think I says to William, if you remember when we done the podcast in Morven, I says to William, you better watch your job because the big man's getting right into this analysis now. I don't think I could add anything to that. I mean, that's exactly how it is. And if you look at Celtic's 2 goals and look at Trusty and Scales' positioning, I'm almost certain they would have been in the exact positions they were in when we conceded those goals. So it's risk and reward. And domestically, the risk is really, really low and the reward's high. But when you come to Champions League, the risk is really high, but the reward's also really high. So what do you do? I mean, the alternative to that is what we've done in Bergamo, which, that's fine. That on that night, that was a great way to get a point. But I don't think that you could go away from home in every game and set up that way, because, listen, you might get a result here and there, but ultimately, Ryan, the 4th goal, I mean, of course that was poor, but the young boy's just been through into the game. I mean, it's hard to be overly harsh on him.
It just takes too long. When you watch a game back, Ollie Watkins has used his experience here to go and pressurise a young lad. And for me, the young lad's caught in 2 minds. But you go back to schoolboy football, mate, you're taught to lump the ball. So just get rid of it. Keep the game at 3-2. But again, put it this way, see, if that was a game that put us out the Champions League, in my opinion, mate, that could kill that lad mentally for that moment, because if we're not already through in the Champions League and that put us out, just say that goal put us out, how's Dane Murray feeling today?
Well, and again, that's the 4th goal, but the 3rd goal as well, I mean, there was some good quality in that for Aston Villa. So, and Aston Villa do that to the likes of Tottenham and City and Liverpool, and Aston Villa do that in the most competitive league in the world. Yeah. So, listen, is it a poor goal?
Absolutely zero excuses, mate. That's the reality. That is the reality in what happened. Go and watch the game. That's the reality in what happened. Celtic counter-press every team they play. Doesn't matter the opposition. So they counter-press St Johnstone the same way they do Leipzig. When it works, it works. It's brilliant. When it doesn't, then, it's not going to work every single time. And if you think that, then, in my opinion, you're going to drive yourself mad, because there's going to be times where you're going to have to watch it not happening for us. And the 3rd goal last night's a perfect example of counter-attacking football.
It's all about opinions.
We do that most weeks to teams, by the way, in Scotland. So that 3rd goal, it's not even a mistake for Celtic. It happens with. It's just that they've played really good. We've pressed the way we're supposed to press, guys. They've just played enough good football round about that in order to play through that press. And that's a sign of a good team, mate.
That's how I see it. Yeah, I'm the same as you. That's how I see it. I think that is Celtic's identity. That's how we play football. That is how we try and win games. We press teams high up the pitch. We try and get bodies around the person that's on the ball. We try to nick it. And if you do, you've got enough people in their half of the pitch that you can create chances. That's what we do. But if you are trying to make that press and teams play through you, it's going to look like you're really exposed. Of course it is, because you've committed a lot of bodies forward to try and win the ball. And I get it, like, it's all down to...
That isn't a gamble. Let me reiterate, that is not a gamble. Celtic have set up that press because they felt in the moment, that's probably not even been worked on with the manager. That was just the shape of the team at that moment. So what that then comes down to is individuality, Baz. Sorry to interrupt you, mate. Individuality and player IQ in a moment. They have tried to press the game. And by the way, players jumped very well into certain positions as to, because you look at the 3rd goal back, see if we won the ball. Idah and Hatate are both through in Martinez. There's nobody there. Kamara and Konsa have stepped.
See if we're at 2-2 and Brendan goes to a back 5 and tries to consolidate and tries to get out with a point. and we sit back. Now, this is all hypothetical here, right? We sit back and we're sitting deep and blah, 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 and somebody sticks one in for 25 yards. There would be massive criticism at Brendan.
Unbelievable amounts of criticism, Buzz.
You were at 2-2 in the game. Why are you not going for the win? That's not the Celtic way. Blah, 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 blah. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But it's all about opinions. I'm obviously my opinion as you. Celtic play a style of football that is risk and reward. But let's be candid. The rewards far outweigh the risks because look where we're sitting. We've qualified. We're top of the summit in Scotland. We've already won a trophy. So the way we play works, right? But you've just described it perfectly. It's not going to work every time. And it's certainly not going to work every time when you're up against a team that's got the quality that Aston Villa have got. So you could always say goals are poor, that you can see. I'm sure the Aston Villa fans would be saying the same when they analyse Adam Idah's 2 goals. You know, we look at Idah's 2 goals and we see what was good in them. We see all the good. Right? Aston Villa fans would be looking at that and seeing all the negatives. That's just how it is. Celtic conceded the goals, and our fans, we look at it and we see where we were at fault. It's only natural. But you have to look at the big picture. You've got to take into account what were Celtic trying to do when that goal happened. We were trying to score a goal. I mean, credit to your team. You're away from home at a big, massive football match. You've clawed your way back into it 2-2, but you're not satisfied. You're trying to get another goal. Well, that's the DNA of our football club. We should be proud of that.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And you look at last night as well, obviously Mike Nawrocki's sitting on the bench. Brendan brings on the young lad, Dane Murray. Takes off Idah because Idah's not available to play the 90 minutes. And he brings on the lad Cummings. For me, obviously going with no Idah, no Jota, no availability there. What other options did we really have? Johnny Kenny's not registered, so probably Johnny Kenny would have come on the pitch last night instead of the lad Cummings. In fact, make no bones about it, that would have happened. So I feel, obviously, like you mentioned, the boys Fitzgerald. I feel that we do need another centre forward, if it's going to be him, if it's going to be someone else, to come in and help Adam Idah, because I personally don't want all the responsibility just solely being on Adam. I would like, I would like it to be that we've rotated the squad all season so far. I would like players to come in and out and be fresh, and but after we get by this month, I think in reality we'll get back to having that one game a week out with this knockout stage of the Champions League. We get back to that one game every week. So I would imagine the team will start to then feel a bit more fresher and start to, re-energise itself as we start hitting what I call the business end of the season, mate.
Yeah, I think the great thing about signing Jota as well is that I would say his preferred position is the left-hand side. He does most of his work there, but Ange Postecoglou played him off the right-hand side, if you remember, because that was off the left. So you're signing 2 wingers there, effectively. So if Kuhn was missing for a couple of games, Jota can easily go and play out the right. Again, if you want to play Maeda through the middle, you can put Jota out on the left. And I wouldn't underestimate, by the way, Dyson Maeda's ability to play through the middle. I wouldn't underestimate what he's capable of doing as a centre forward. So you've got all those options, but I will still agree with you that I think that bringing in a centre forward is important. And in thinking forward, and I know you and I were having a chat about this, I think maybe yesterday, Celtic are going to have to play a qualifier to get to Champions League next season. They're not straight in. And that game is a 40 million, 50 million pound game. So you have to prepare for that. So bringing Jota in now, hopefully Tierney comes in, hopefully we sign that boy. What you're also doing is you're preparing for the summer. You're preparing to have these guys in the building, already accustomed to everything, strong pre-season, and get into that qualifying game. So we're in good shape. we're in great shape as a squad. Have been all season. I know we've lost Kyogo, but I would argue losing Kyogo, bringing in Jota and Tierney, if that happens, I would still argue you're stronger, even if that was all you done. But if you bring in a centre forward along with the two boys, who strengthens that team in January? It rarely happens. But if that was the case, and Celtic were to get those other two over the line, Tierney and the forward, you'd be looking at it and going, well, that's one of the best windows we've had. Never mind January or summer, or just in isolation, that would be an incredible transfer window. But it remains to be seen if that happens. But yeah, let's hope.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Thank you very much for coming on this morning and having a chat, mate, and giving us your thoughts. It's always good to get you on, mate. I know it's been a wee while. Let's hope it's not another few months before the next time we see you.
No. Listen, you know what it's like. I have had a busy, really busy month. But I'm never too busy that I can't make time out for you and for the unrestricted you family. So keep me accountable, JP. If I go quiet, if I'm not getting on, just fire me an aggressive message. Just threaten me. I'll listen to you. Give me a big threat and I'll come on.
Tell you what, by the way, if you listen to me, you're the only man in my life that listens to me, man. Everybody just patches me for some reason. But thank you very much, folks. I do apologise today if I've not been able to get a lot of comments up. For some reason, the software that we're using just now, I don't know if it's my connection or where I am, it's only allowed me to put up certain comments. When I'm trying to do it, it's telling me I'm not allowed to do it. So I do apologise for that. I also apologise as well. At the beginning, I've mentioned that Alan was meant to be present with us. I've had a mad 24 hours, folks, so I read a text message wrong. So I thought Alan was meant to be with us, and he's not with us. So I do apologise for that. If anybody was looking forward to hearing Big Alan and what he was going to say about to get last night's game. Just to let you know, I'll be back tomorrow night with myself and Barry Bannon. We'll be taking all the thoughts in about Celtic's up-and-coming fixture for the Motherwell game. Probably get Baz's thoughts on last night. Baz was in attendance at the game last night also. So it'll be good to hear from someone, Barry, that was actually in the stadium last night at the game. Our good man Ryan as well. He's been in Birmingham as well this week. He's away for a nice wee couple of days away with his dad. I do hope, if you're still watching me, man, I hope you've had a great time, albeit the result aside. I hope it was a great experience and it's been a good trip. And hope you've enjoyed yourself. Before I go, Baz, as you'll probably see, folks, on your running bar, the Celtic Unrestricted View, we do have a live bonus ball. It's for the signed and framed 1989 Joe Miller strip. So the balls are £5 a ball. The strip comes with that fantastic frame, Joe's signature there on the strip, tells you the 1989 season, hail, hail. Nice wee photo of Joe with the cup. Wee plaque with Joe and telling you it's a hand-signed jersey, and the certificate of COA is on the back of that as well. It was donated by a good friend of our sponsor, Mr. Alec Beveridge. And fantastic piece, obviously, for anyone that's into collecting Celtic memorabilia. If you are and you do want to take a shot of the bonus ball, folks, please get in contact and send your money to that address there that's on the screen, ryanclifford9@aol.co.uk. That is our PayPal account. If you don't have PayPal, not to worry. Send us a message on any of the social media platforms. Contact us in the community section on YouTube. Do anything you can to get in touch with us, and we can arrange a different method for you. Finally, Baz, moving forward, just before I let you go, mate, what is your take and what are you looking forward to now, moving forward into the rest of the season, mate?
I think, as you say, JP, just the demand, the fixture list easing up a wee bit. because I think when the fixtures are coming in thick and fast, I think obviously, the team are able to perform at a higher level. Generally our results stay the same, no matter, the games are 2 games a week or 1 game a week, our results tend to stay the same, but our performance levels go up when less games. So I'm excited about seeing Celtic at their best, as the season wears on.
Yeah, and like I says, we're now coming into that period of the season, what I like to call the business end of the season. And what I always say on this show, folks, is cream always rises to the top. So when people doubt Celtic for some reason or another, I know there's probably not a lot of that going on just now. However, when that happens, that's when Celtic go on a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 game run where they are exquisite. So above all else, we look forward to the chat tomorrow night, back on the show, 8 p.m. Hope you can join us. If you can't, that's your loss. I'm only kidding. If I don't get a chance to see most of you, enjoy your weekend. If anybody's going to Firth Park, enjoy that too. But I will be back tomorrow night with our good man, Mr. Barry Barney. But for the time being, Mr. Barry McCandless, thanks for your time, mate, and I will see you later.
Thanks for hosting, big guy. Cheers. Hail, hail.
Cheers, mate. Hail, hail, guys. Bye-bye.